Going for boost over. Well, I think going for boost if you're a boost merchant, like someone like AJ or someone, you go for boost.
100% of the time.
Yes.
Always, every second of every game. Ball's going in your net, don't worry about it. Go get the boost and make sure you've got the full 100 to celebrate with the other team.
Oh God. Never. Yeah, never. Always go for ball.
Yeah.
Number one rule of Rocket League.
Welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast, where three aggressively average Rocket League players talk about everything RLCS with your hosts, Ace, Code Red Jack, Kyle Cube, and AJ Binky. So, if you've ever wondered when the best time to go for Boost Over Ball is, you've come to the right place.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Boost Over Ball podcast. To listeners new and old, hello and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, we hope everyone had a happy New Year. Today, I'm Kyle K Cube. I'm here with AJ Binky. How's it going?
Not too terribly bad. Just getting over a sinus infection. So, other than that, fantastic though.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you back. It's been a little bit. We've been doing some interviews, some episodes with other people as AJ gets moved and gets over his sinus infection. So we're glad to have you back.
Yeah, good to be back.
Well, on today's episode, we will not be bringing you information from an RLCS update. We thought we were. I got baited a few times. Got rickrolled a couple times, not paying attention to the verified accounts, but here we are. Today we'll be talking about Epic's deal with Blast Esports, what that could mean for Rocket League, some positives and negatives, as well as what the future holds for that. We will also be talking about results from the draw number 9. Some of the results that took place, some of our takeaways as we kind of kill a little bit of time, bring you some information, and all wait for this RLCS announcement that we hope will happen this week. But with that being said, we will jump right in to start talking about Blast Esports. It was announced that Blast Esports will be taking over the production duties from Epic Games, from Psyonix, moving forward in a multi-year deal. What are your first thoughts on that?
Who did it before? Was it just Psyonix?
Yeah, Psyonix and Epic.
Well, I feel like this is a good thing then, because it's one giant thing that they don't have to worry about anymore. Worry about as much.
Yeah.
If they have somebody else doing it, then they can just go hands off.
I would agree. And we had to do a little bit of research beforehand, but for those of you who aren't familiar with Blast Esports, they were created in 2020 as a CSGO esports league. They transitioned into CSGO 2 when that happened. They've done they do Rainbow Six Siege, they do Fortnite and Rocket League now. Some positives that we have here are, they have an incredible broadcast quality. The in-person events are stupendous. They really leave nothing to be desired at in-person events and LAN events. It's not Epic Games, so I guess there's a potential for more transparency and, some more announcements, which is kind of ironic that we're talking about that right now as we're waiting for an announcement, but, still.
Yeah, I do have one question about this. So, is talent gonna be potentially different with Blast Esports?
I think it could be. I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter of people announcing their end of working for RL Esports.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
This is basically taking the place of RL Esports, not the Twitter account or anything like that, but from a broadcast perspective, right? So you see people talking about, it's been an absolute pleasure to be able to work on Rocket League, all that kind of fun stuff. But it's also been Stacks and some of the other RL Esports talent has said, sometimes we don't get renewed until a couple of weeks before the event. Before the event, that's not unusual, but a lot of people have been. It's been announced that people like behind the scenes and in the production room have been let go. So I'm not. I'm intrigued to see what happens, and my heart goes out to those people who have lost their jobs and their place in RL Esports.
I mean, I would imagine a lot of it would just stay the same, because like that's the people who know the game, you know. But maybe
Yeah,
they just bring on completely new people. I don't know.
for sure. Like Alex Winther, wrapping up an amazing chapter as a producer of RLCS. Grateful for the memories, our exceptional team, and the priceless experience we've shared. Proud to have contributed to making RLCS what it is today. Excited to apply my knowledge onto new projects at EFG. GG's. Like that, he's not the first one. There's been a lot of people that have been talking about that, and a lot of people that have been, reaching out, like, hey, keep everybody in mind. Like this is still a tough time in esports. So, I would have to imagine a lot of the talent would stay the same. That's how you bring back viewership.
You
But
think so?
I mean, you never really truly know in esports. So I will,
Yeah.
we're waiting just like everybody else. And like in true
Yeah.
podcasting fashion, we decided to bring you guys this episode today so that you could get an announcement, right? Because like as soon as we hit post, like they'll drop the actual announcement, and all of this will be like they'll clear up all of this.
Yeah.
But
Old news.
no kidding. But now it's not all sunshine and rainbows with Blast. There's a couple of negatives that I was able to find from people who are involved in other esports that they've produced and showcased in the past. For CS:GO specifically, they do 2 seasons, like, or circuits is a better way to describe it, but like 2 splits basically. And there was a 4-month break in between their circuits or splits. Like not like maybe half of the off season that we've had this year for RLCS, but it was hard for players. Supposedly that was to allow third-party tournament organizers to put on events, but from my research, it was only Gamers 8 that was able to do something there for CS:GO. So it really just translated to like a lot of teams not being able to play for 4 months, like competitively, and hopefully that.
Rocket League has a decent, like at least this past downtime has had a decent amount of like third-party tournaments, right? Like I know some bigger
Yeah,
streamers put some on and stuff like that, like the Salt Mine, things like that.
Salt Mine, the Draw, Rocket Baguette, Bandits on
Yeah.
Wheels. Like there's a lot of them this off season. We did an entire episode on that stuff earlier in the off season. But I also know that Psyonix and Epic Games gave money to third party tournament organizers to help them, put those events on, because they knew the off season was going to be so long. So like
Hmm.
I'm all for the third party events. They don't really take the place of the pro events, but they're not supposed to. But you can't really run them if you don't have like funding or support from the game itself. So
Yeah.
I mean, Gamers 8 is a fantastic event. Like we've seen, the kind of numbers that they pull, the names that they're able to bring. So that's good for the scene that Gamers 8 is able to do something like that. But not everybody can self fund a tournament that big. So we'll have to wait and
Yep.
see what changes to the format of RLCS there are, and then that kind of brings us into our next point, right? It's like how much influence is Epic Games and Psyonix going to have on Blast? Are they fully hands off? Is Blast going to handle everything? Are they just going to do production and LAN event like management basically? Like I'm very intrigued to kind of see how this partnership like starts to work out and how they work hand in hand.
Yeah, it's gonna be super interesting.
Yeah, because like Blast has favored like I said earlier, the 2 splits or 2 circuits approach. RLCS in the past has done 3. So I've seen a lot of people like speculating that it's going to be 2 lands and a world championships every year instead of 3 and a world championships. But I am interested to see what happens here, right? Because I think there's still a world where you can do 3 lands and a world championships every year and still have like 2-3 months of an off season, so to speak.
Hmm.
just kind of give the players a little bit of a chance to unwind, like at the end of the season, like instead of doing World Championships in August, maybe do them like the beginning of September or something. So then you really have like, September, October, November, December, and then start back up again in the new year, similar to how they're doing now. So like, I mean, it's kind of possible that the extended off season was really just a way to reinvigorate the esport, bring about like a new season like that coincides with the calendar year. Because like in the past we had like RLCS X and different seasons like that, but now you could have RLCS 24, RLCS 25, so on and so forth. So maybe it makes it easier for them to like keep it organized and to make it more sustainable.
Yeah, that would be nice.
It would, but again, like
I feel like sustainability isn't exactly a thing that esports has right now.
I would agree wholeheartedly with the turnover that we're seeing with the the different companies coming in and out of the scene. Like, sorry to bring up old wounds here, but like version 1 leaving the scene.
Ugh.
But like at the same time, you have like it's rumored that TSM is going to be is going to be coming back to Rocket League. Luminosity's back. OG Esports with Red Bull are making an appearance. So like people still are still awaiting the Cloud9 return. There's like organizations that
it could have happened. It could have happened. Well, I mean, the players at least.
They could have done something so funny. They could have made an
That would've
announcement
been
today that they
so
were coming
good.
back, and the entire like
Yeah.
scene would have lost their collective minds.
Oh yeah, that would have just absolutely destroyed the internet.
But sometimes that happens. That it doesn't exactly work out. So, oh well. But it's interesting because I'm very intrigued to see what the announcement is, what the format's going to be, when everything's going to start. But I'm starting to get a little bit nervous, right? So I said we weren't really going to talk about it as much, but they said that this split was going to start the end of January. We're almost firmly in mid-January right now.
Yep.
And I've seen rumors that potentially an NA, like the NA event was going to start it off like the 20th and the 21st of January. That's like a week and a half from now.
I don't whoa. Did you see that? He just like jumped like 4 feet to try and attack Freddy. Yeah. I know. I don't remember who. I do remember who said it. I'm not going to say their name, but they said it was originally supposed to be end of January. Now it's like middle of February, and I want to say that got delayed now too. But I can't remember the specifics of what he said. What he or she said, depending on that person's gender.
Yeah,
I'm not going to specify.
I mean, it's becoming less likely to me that something happens at the end of January, but also at the same time, it's still possible they release an announcement later today or tomorrow. We're recording this on Tuesday on the 9th, so
okay,
like,
where did this announcement today come from?
I
didn't hear anything about this.
One of the people who runs Shift was talking in the in the RLCS Achilles.
Okay. Gotcha.
Was talking in the Discord, in the RLCS Discord, and said, I think it's today. It's not really a leak, but I think it should be today.
Okay, so like he very well just could be wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
Or he could be right and they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, so I mean, like it kind of made sense for it to happen like today or tomorrow, in my opinion, right? If it's gonna be like starting very shortly, because you still need to do like open qualifiers, you still need to do if open qualifiers are a thing that they're going to continue to do, again they can change way more than just the split format. Cool. So
yeah,
it's certainly going to be interesting to see what happens. I kind of hoped and was excited maybe for the potential of an announcement today. I think I refreshed Twitter today more times than I have in my entire life combined.
You don't have an auto refresh extension on Chrome or something?
It's on my phone.
I know, I'm just kidding.
But like I have all the tweet notifications on, and so hopefully,
yeah.
we'll just have to wait and see like everybody else. I was hoping to kind of to hear
Where would
sooner
it
rather
even
than
come
later.
from? Would it be RL Esports?
That's kind of what I think because
Or would it be
they've done
like?
the announcements in the past.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I think RL Esports. I do get every tweet notification.
Yeah, but you know, really, like realistically, I just want to be able to know the dates so that I can start to plan things out,
Yeah.
right? Because like especially for us here on the show, because we try to go to every LAN event that we can and bring like logistically, it's difficult to get everybody in the same place to find flights and everything like that to get passes to get all the camera gear and all the recording equipment there to to do all that kind of stuff. So I'm I was hoping that we'd get to know sooner rather than later so that we could continue to plan everything out, right? Because like in the past it's been like a split starts, you got about a month until the LAN, and then there's a like 2 weeks off season, and then you're 3 weeks off season, and then it's a another month and then another LAN.
Do they tell the pros? I feel like they wouldn't, because like they just leak it, right?
That's what I would think too. I mean, like Luminosity was tweeting today that they don't really know what's going on, that they don't really expect like an
Yeah,
announcement this week. Like it certainly seems like no one really truly knows what's going on, which is
yeah.
wild
That's
because they have to
for
organize.
real
They have to organize even more. So, like,
and quickly too.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially if it's like you think about like an international major, like if it starts supposed to start at the end of January, let's just say for argument's sake that an international LAN event is happening first week in March, right? And like for all the EU, OCE, SAM teams that are going to make it, like that's a lot of travel for them, especially for like OCE. Like if you're going to put a LAN in
Yeah.
Chicago, for example, I have no idea if that's where it is. That's the first city I could think of, right?
Yeah, that's
And
a lot of planning.
like that's like 2 months, not even.
Yeah.
Like you have 2 months basically to plan the trip, to get everything booked. Well, but then also these teams are probably going to have to boot camp. But then also you have to think that like, okay, well their place at the LAN isn't necessarily solidified yet, but at least one team from the region is going to go. So like it's just like there's so many like moving parts that like I kind of get it, but also at the same time I'm starting to get a little bit nervous that an announcement is not as imminent as we thought. But
with them not doing production anymore, does that mean that future announcements will come further before the actual date so we'd get more planning time?
I mean, I would hope so. I would think like if you're not going to have to worry about production or in-person LAN events or anything like that, that they can be more transparent with roadmaps, with updates, with
Right.
all that stuff. Because while they did sign a contract to with Blast for them to produce all this stuff, if you're signing the contract, then it's going to be less expensive than what you would need to do it in house, right? So potentially that's some budget and some people that you could allocate to doing other things.
Yeah, I would hope so too. However,
it is Epic, and
I feel like that's hoping a lot.
That's the copium right there. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because like they've shown in the past that they're not really willing to be transparent. They're not really willing to give anybody anything
Plus,
for Rocket League.
it's going to be the first events that they do with this new production company. So, like, I give it a year before any noticeable improvement starts.
I think that's kind
starts being noticeable.
Right. I think that's kind of fair.
Yeah.
But last but not least on the Blast Esports thing, one of the things that could potentially factor in down the line for Blast is Blast.tv. Blast.tv, according to their website, is our new big thing. It's the ultimate platform where millions of esports fans will come together to watch, chat, be entertained by the best content from our world. It's a radical new way to watch esports. So
that's their elevator pitch.
Yeah, that's the elevator pitch for Blast.tv. To me, it kind of seems like its own app, its own website. It kind of integrates some of the stuff of like what Shift's doing with like recent results, with news articles, with pictures, with things like that. And then also it gives you another place to watch esports, right? Potentially outside of Twitch or YouTube. Now that's not to say that they're going to be switching there, imminently. As far as I know, and from everything that I've heard, it'll still be on Twitch and YouTube, for the foreseeable future. But this could potentially be a good thing with all of their esports content being in one place. subject to like their own rules, their own streaming, things like that. So maybe you don't have to worry about copyright music. Maybe you don't have to worry about, you know, VODs, things like that. Like they'll have replays and highlights and all that stuff that are readily available to fans trying to view, their esports.
How do you feel about this? Good thing or bad thing, Blast TV?
I think it could be a good thing. I think another aspect to it is we saw like the Overwatch League, CS:GO League, CS2 League now, sorry. Streamed on ESPN. Like that's, major market people with the tier 1 esport being in front of a lot more people than if it were just on Twitch or YouTube. Blast.tv could be angling for, some kind of TV partnership to be able to, broadcast their esports on a channel. I think that could only do good things for esports and grow, CS2, Fortnite, Rocket League, Rainbow Six, all that stuff. So I really think it could be a good thing. Now the only thing is, like, if you force people to use Blast.tv and then, make a paywall out of it, I think that's really the only downside that I could see.
How would they even? What would they paywall?
Well, because I mean, like you think about Twitch, right? If you wanna watch RLCS without ads, you have to subscribe, and either use a Prime sub or
That's fair.
subscribe.
Yeah, just do their own like advertisement on streams.
Yeah, or just charge you a monthly subscription to be able to watch the esports. But like in my opinion, that's like one of the big positives of esports is the fact that you need a device with an internet connection to watch, right? You don't need to pay. You can watch the ads. It's not that big of a deal. Like, but that brings in more audience. That's why the audience base for esports is so much higher than any other sport that you can watch like on TV or on the internet.
Do you think having like this Blast.tv streaming a bunch of different esports is a good way to get eyeballs from different esports to other ones? So like Rocket League people start watching Valorant or whatever just because it's like another option on the website? Or do you think that's not gonna happen, like hardly at all?
I think there's a potential possibility for people to like go onto the app looking for something and then set like, oh hey, they're streaming Valorant. Like let me check that out. Like I certainly see it as a possibility. Like, there are times like when you use YouTube as a perfect example, right? You go down the YouTube rabbit hole. Like you went in searching for, how to fix a TV, and all of a sudden you're watching, squirrel chasing man or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
I think I think it is going to, because like you'll see the recognizable team logos and like, oh, they play this other game, let's check this out. Or like, when do they play?
Yeah, and like similarly, I think it's also an opportunity for esports organizations to, like I noticed on Blast website they have like partner organizations, right? And the partner organizations are plastered all over the place. Team Falcons from MENA are a partner organization, so potentially there's an opportunity for them to link their merch or a merch store, insert tweets, things like that. It gives them a place to another further platform and avenue for them to make money, which like realistically, like esports prints money. There's just not a really good way to monetize it for the organizations, right? Like there's so many people, there's so much interest, there's so much desire to be involved and to support your team. Like I think that like it could potentially bring a whole new revenue stream for some of these organizations. That. But, that's a lot on Blast TV, Blast esports, Blast in general. We're still waiting on this RLCS announcement. If there is one that drops this week at some point, we will be coming back together with a quote unquote emergency episode to talk about the dates, the events, our excitement, any split changes, details, things like that they may announce. But in the meantime, we wanted to get an episode recorded for you. But the last thing we'll talk about on this episode is the draw number 9. We're not going to break down the whole event. We're just going to talk about some notable performances, some notable games, and our takeaways from the event. And to start us off, I think that the biggest notable performance would be G2 Stride falling to Luminosity in the first round, ending their run in the draw. Is that G2 having an off day? Is that Luminosity peaking? Like, what do you think?
Well, first of all, who's on Luminosity again?
Luminosity
Those
is
two people.
Reddles.
Magic Bear,
Luminosity is
Riddles, and
Reddles and
Cheese.
Cheese with Raw Greg, the
I
former
didn't
Optic
see
coach.
this match. I didn't watch any of this. I saw a little bit of the finals, but that was it. So, not knowing, I think it could have been either way. Either G2 not performing up to their peak, which is in a ridiculous peak, has to be, or it could have been Luminosity playing very well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
And we all know that they have a very, very capable roster. So, like, even when they're both playing well, like both teams are playing well, I feel like it still could go either way. Like, what was the record here? We got.
it was 3-2, so it's game 5.
It looked like there was only one game that wasn't close.
Yeah,
And that was
game 4.
Well, game 4, 4-0 Luminosity. Yeah. Other than that, they were all pretty close. So even one OT. Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick one, I'd say G2 didn't play up to their up to par.
That's kind of where my head's at. I mean, I know Luminosity with the team that they have, they play a stupidly aggressive play style.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah.
Right, with Magic Bear and Reddles both being really aggressive players. There's almost always somebody demoing. Right, Cheese is a very calculated, slow, methodical player. I don't know if slow is the right word, but like very methodical. And so he fits. They definitely needed someone like that on the team. So maybe the aggressive play style out like straight out of the gate like really kind of threw G2 off. But I would tend to agree. I think that G2 is not playing up to their ridiculously high peak. Next we have Luminosity being ousted by your eventual tournament runners up in Torment's Minions, and that roster, for those that are not familiar, is Com, JNaps, and Noli. That is soon to be OG Esports, Red Bull's esports organization. They're set to be picked up by them. So Torment's Minions, soon to be OG, take down Luminosity to make a top 4. They then
this was a sweep.
It was a sweep, yeah.
Interesting. They only scored 1 goal out of all 3 games.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So they played very well. They then swept G Buffalo, which is Hazo, Buffy, and G-Man.
G Buffo.
Yeah, G Buffo.
Buffalo.
Oh, G Buffo, sorry. Yeah. But they sweep them pretty handily. Again, G Buffo only scoring 1 goal. And they kind of cruised into the grand finals. Where on the other side we have Space Station Gaming beating NRG in 5 games, taking down Flight 3-1, and then taking down Pirates on a Boat 3-1. And Pirates on a Boat, we talked about it last episode. That's Andy, 5-Up, and Toasty. A good showing for them. With 5-Up being a newcomer to the scene, like an up and coming talent. So good for them. And then we have Space Station Gaming taking down Torment's Minions 3-2 in a best of 5. I hats off to Space Station. LJ is absolutely nuts. We knew that from Worlds. We knew that from the spring split. But
where's Ace when you need him?
No kidding. But, could Arsenal have been holding LJ back? I mean, it certainly seems like he's been unleashed. You say yes?
I say yes, yeah.
You have any reasoning for that?
No, not really.
Okay.
I just wanted, throw some random opinion out in the wind.
Hey, I mean, I kind of agree with you. I mean, like, you think about back when...
look at Daniel.
Yeah, that's fair.
Same thing happened with him.
Yeah, and
they dropped Daniel, and they started going wild.
Yeah, I mean, you think about like LJ back when he was on Oxygen, when Oxygen had a team in NA, and he almost dragged that team kicking and screaming to an international major by himself.
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And so you think about Space Station with Arsenal. While their performances were good, sometimes the offense wasn't always there, but Arsenal was still really the star of the show, right? It was Arsenal's team, so to speak, and I think by Arsenal moving to Dignitas, you kind of really hand the keys to the castle over to LJ, and he's certainly the player to do that. And then you bring in someone like Chicago to fill in that space, and I think he could be the perfect third for them. His shooting accuracy has been good. He's one of the best strikers in NA, in my personal opinion. You have the mechanical mastermind in LJ, the shooting talent in Chicago, and kind of the defensive calming, steady presence of Hoxer. I think that you have all the makings of a top tier NA roster.
We saw somebody else's minions before, right?
Maybe it was Appjack's minions.
I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, neither do I.
But it seems so familiar.
Yeah, but I'm certainly interested to see how Space Station can compete with the likes of Gen G and their roster, G2 and their roster. So with that, we'll have to wait.
It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, we'll have to wait till the RLCS announcement to kind of figure out when we'll get to see that. On the main stage, so to speak. But with that, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Give us something to work with, Psionics, Epic, whoever's gonna make the announcement. Just give us something.
Yeah, I would agree. We need something. Just give us a little bit of a breadcrumb to tide everyone over until the main announcement comes. But also
bring back version 1.
Bring back version 1. And also, if the announcement comes this week, you're welcome for recording the episode so that this announcement could come. If it didn't, then it wasn't our fault. But with that, thank you guys so much for listening. Remember to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, join our Discord, and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts, as it really helps us out. Your 5 stars help us grow our show and reach a larger audience, which we're always trying to do as we aim to help as many people as we can and bring you the best content possible. Also, check out our YouTube, our Twitch, our TikTok, and our merch store. All of these links and more can be found on our website at boostoverball.com. From us here on the show, as always, remember to choose Boost over Ball.
Thank you for listening to the Boost Over Ball podcast. Make sure to check out our website, www.boostoverball.com, and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts.